Speaking of incredible, let's go to Victoria now, where, of course, today we learned that the Commonwealth Games that were meant to be staged in 2026 are going to be cancelled. Well, the breaking news we have for you tonight here first on the Late Debate is that they are in crisis meetings right now over in the UK with the organisers of the Commonwealth Games, trying to work out, pouring through the contract that they signed with the Victorian government, whether or not they can potentially go to the Victorian government for millions of dollars worth of compensation. They're looking into whether they can recoup money that's already been spent on these games happening, which of course have now been cancelled, and then they're going to look into whether they can get further damages. So there goes Daniel Andrews' plan to save all this money for the great state of Victoria. As if you needed any reminding, this was his explanation today.
We are not going to spend $6 to $7 billion running a 12-day sporting event. Instead, we'll deliver the housing, the sporting infrastructure, the tourism, and the major events support, permanent infrastructure, as well as programs that will see more and more people visit our regions, creating jobs and opportunities for the future. We'll do that instead.
Interesting, isn't it? $6 to $7 billion for a project that until now was meant to be worth $2.6 billion. And in fact, it was only 6 weeks ago that Harriet Shing, who's a Labor Upper House MP in Victoria, told the Parliament in June that the budget was $2.6 billion. So where did this $6 to $7 billion come into it in the last 6 weeks? It's an extraordinary number. Sam Groth, former pro tennis player, now a Liberal MP in Victoria, responded to that today.
That a budget was delivered in May that costed the Games at $2.6 billion. And then you've got Commonwealth Games Australia today coming out and saying that as recently as June, they were given figures that were at least 50% less than those presented by the Premier today. It's hard to believe that the Games, as you said, in as little a time as 8 weeks ago, from costing $2.6 billion to $6 billion at the start of a press conference to $7 billion at the end of the press conference. And the other thing that you also have to question is, where were those numbers pulled from?
Meanwhile, you've got Basil Zemplis, of course, the football commentator and Lord Mayor of Perth, saying WA should snap it up now.
Absolutely honest. If we don't walk through this door that has mysteriously and magically suddenly opened because of some lines that I, quite frankly, don't accept from the Victorian Premier, Daniel Andrews, then we will never have an opportunity to host a festival of sport like this again.
Now, Daniel Andrews, in his typical way today, being the great oracle, the font of all knowledge that he is, was telling Victorians and the rest of Australia, and in fact the rest of the world, given the international embarrassment that this is, that when Victoria signed up to host the Commonwealth Games in 2026, it was basically some sort of a favour. We were just doing it out of the goodness of our hearts because no other poor bugger wanted to do it. But take a look at this. This is the rhetoric before, when they accepted the contract, and then today.
Thank you, Premier, and thank you, Dame Louise. It was a great privilege for Governor Dessau, myself, Ben Houston and Craig Phillips to go to Birmingham last month to present our vision for the regional Commonwealth Games to the board of the Federation. And we were put through our paces. The Federation board wanted to know about that vision, about whether we could deliver, about what sports we'd want to include and how that relates to those parts of the Federation and their own interests and the sports in which they're strong.
Last year, when the Commonwealth Games authorities approached us and needed someone to step in to host the 2026 Commonwealth Games as a state, we were happy to help out.
So it's our vision for our Commonwealth Games, and then suddenly, when they realise they've got no money because they're broke in Victoria, they asked us to step in, and we're just simply saying, well, no, we can't do it anymore. It's no wonder they can't afford to put on the Commonwealth Games in Victoria, because basically everything else in the state is free. Take a look at the stuff that last year Daniel Andrews made free. Tampons, free. Studying to be a nurse or a midwife, free. Rapid antigen tests in schools, free. Going to get your L or P plates, free. Tinder, free. The Melbourne Royal Show, kids go free. Everything is free in Victoria. They have run out of money. And as we told you last night, they're now offering people who've had their houses damaged in major projects like the Westgate Tunnel project grand compensation, like $20 pizza vouchers. Is it any wonder that Victoria cannot afford to stage the Commonwealth Games? And that's exactly the point. You cannot tell me it would cost $6 to $7 billion